All right, welcome once again. This is the Grand Prix Project Podcast with me, your host, Andre and the big bro, Thanos.
What's
What's going on,
happening,
big
bro?
bro?
What's happening, bro? You all right? Took a break.
Yeah, we ran with the calendar and took a break because outside of podcasting, we do have actual real jobs.
Yep. Contrary to popular beliefs.
Yeah, it's one of them ones where it's like when you get a little break, because sometimes it's hard. You really have to find time, in your schedule to record the pod, which we love. So we're always gonna find the time. So we kind of took a break with the calendar. So now we're back. Austrian Grand Prix review, right? Let's get straight into it. Another perfect weekend. Well, when I say perfect weekend, I mean I'm racing sprint and main race.
Yeah,
Right?
Marquez.
Usually a main weekend.
Marquez.
Yeah,
Marquez did us. What's that? The sixth straight double.
yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not even going to start with Mark, to be honest, because that's what we usually start with, because he's always winning. So we always start with him. But let's start with his teammate.
Pecco, man.
And we speak about Pekka almost every week, but let's start with Pekka. What's going on with Pekka? We've been asking this question for 13 weeks?
Yeah. Here's my thing with this Pecco thing. It's a two-pronged thing with Pecco. The bike's not working for him. That's one.
Yeah.
And two, because the bike's not working for him, he's also in his own head.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a bike and a psychological thing. And he's trying everything to get it right, but nothing works for him. So what are you going to do? What's he going to do? Because to be honest, I said it before, no one expected him to beat Marc over a season. I think only a fool would have said Pecco was going to beat Marc over a season. But what we had hoped for was he would have actually offered him some kind of challenge. And he's not done that. Whenever he looks like he's going to have a good weekend, it never pans out the way he wants it to be. It never turns out. Marc still has all the answers for him in every metric he can think of. So, and all of this compounds it with the bike not giving him the feel that he wants. He's complaining about these issues about the front end. You saw, which race was it? Was it Acid which race was it where he changed the size of the front brake disc and that gave him a bit more performance? Or was it Mugello? Aragon. Yeah. But that's not going to be enough to beat Marc. So I think, like I said, it's a two-pronged thing. It's partly Pecco himself and partly the bike. And once you get down, you've gone down both of those rabbit holes. I can't see him coming back from that. So for right now, and to make matters worse, he's getting beat by a GP Tour bike. So I mean, that in all honesty shouldn't happen. But then when you look at it at the same time, the next GP25 bike that's written by, was it Gigi? Gigi has the next GP25 bike. He's not like he's pulling up trees either. He's getting beat by the same GP.
Did anyone ever expect Digi had to pull up trees?
No, but you'd think at least on the GP25 he'd be doing much better. But what I'm trying to say is the only person performing on the GP25 is Marc on a consistent basis. Digi and Pecco's form is up and down on that bike. They'll have the good weekends where they'll probably get a podium here or there.
Form. So their form is like a roller coaster.
Yeah. So the only man performing consistently on the GP to Marc.
So let me ask you this, right? Because over the summer, it took me, I had to reflect on what we've done so far in the pod, right? So, a lot of time it got heated, which is good, right? But I'm trying to approach moving forward in a different way, which is why I'm more asking these questions, right? You give how you feel and I say how I feel, right? So let me ask you this, right? I asked it yesterday on my Twitter. What's the GP25 level? Is the GP25 Marc's level Is it Pekka's level or is it Gigi's level? Or is
It's
it an in
Mark.
between?
It's Mark. It's Mark because
No, no, no,
Mark
no, 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 no. No, I mean the true level of the GP25.
is where
Because
is what Mark's getting out of it.
if you're saying if that's what's getting out of it, it means the other two are underperforming.
No, I wouldn't say they're underperforming, but Mark is Marc Marquez. Let's be real here. We're not talking about any run of the mill rider on the grid. Mark is Marc Marquez. You know, you have to, whether you like the guy or not, you have to put respect on his name. He's one of the aliens in MotoGP. You know, we've had our arguments about who we think is the GOAT. You think he's the GOAT. I say I'm still adamant it's Rossi. So arguments can be made for either. So Marc Marquez on one side is regarded as the GOAT. So he's the benchmark for that bike, where that bike is. But what I'm saying is, with the Pecco thing, Pecco is no mug, let's be honest, right? I know a lot of people don't give him the respect he deserves because they feel like he's had it easy or he's not that good of a rider. I don't agree with that. I think Pecco is a damn good rider.
Yeah.
Clearly not to Marquez's level, but what we're seeing here, his performance on the bike doesn't reflect his talent. So I mean,
okay,
and
I like this.
And Mark is the benchmark by which you're going to judge the level of the bike. It's the same thing with the Honda. When he was on the Honda, who was the benchmark? The other riders on the Hondas during that time weren't doing anything. It was just Mark getting the results on that Honda. I mean, I know you're seeing the same thing with the Ducati, and it's unfortunate for Pecco that this level of performance he's having coincides with Mark being in the team. Because because what I'm saying, because people are, again, you don't have to like somebody to give them some form of respect and a talent. And again, you know me, I'm FQ, I'm Fabio Quartararo 20. That's my team. I'm ride or die Fabio. You know what I mean? But I'm also not naive enough not to recognize talent when I see talent and give due respect where respect's due. And Pecco deserves that respect. He's a two-time world champion. No matter what anybody wants to say about he's a two-time world champion. It's no different to when people are disrespecting Alex Marquez and you're saying, yo, but Alex Marquez is a multiple world champion. No matter how you want to swing it, Pecco is a two-time world champion. There's only of all the world champions.
Technical.
No, we're going MotoGP. We're going MotoGP. But if you want to go over, well, I'm going big bikes. But if you want to go over the whole entire career, right, from the single seaters all the way up, he's a three-time world champion. Alex is what, 3 times as well? Alex, two. So of all the riders on the grid, there's only 2 riders that has 2 or more championships. Right now.
There's more. Remember, Zarco is still there.
Yeah, but how many Zarco has? 2. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Back-to-back Moto2 champion.
Okay, so there's only 2 riders on the grid that has more than 2 world championships, and that's Pecco and Mark. So Pecco is no mug. So I think we need to. He's having a difficult. And
just to clarify, he's referring to MotoGP World Championships,
not just Moto. And he won. Didn't he win?
No, so that's what I'm saying. If you're saying overall, there's more. There's Zarco, there's Alex, there's Pecco, there's Martin, and there's Mark, and that's the 5.
Yeah, but the ones who have more than
Pedro Acosta.
Yeah, but who has more than 2?
Who has more than 2?
Yeah.
It would just
Pekka
be Mark.
3. Pecco.
It would be Mark and Pecco.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So of all the riders on the grid, across the whole entire from 125, 250s or Moto3, Moto2 coming into MotoGP or 500, Pecco and Mark are the only ones on the grid that has more than 2 titles. So Pecco is no mug. So when people diss him and say this maybe what we're seeing from him this year is his level, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all because Jorge Martin was no mug last year. Jorge Martin was no mug the year before either as well. And he had to ride his ass off to beat Martin the year before and to keep up with Martin last year. And we know why he lost that championship, but that's beside the point. So what
Yeah.
we're seeing right now from Pecco is not Pecco's level. So it goes back to my original point. It's a two-pronged situation for me with Pecco. I think it's partly mental and it's also the bike. And the bike is what's influencing his mental state of mind. And I think
Okay.
why you're not seeing the best out of him.
And this is my issue, right? Those are all fair points. This is my problem with Peko, right? I get all of that. 3-time world champion, right? So what I'm looking for, right, is when you look at the grid, the current 2025 grid, of everyone who started out the season struggling, Peko is the only rider who is still struggling round 13.
That's true.
Bastianini made improvement for the past 2 rounds. Pedro Acosta picked it up. Maverick Vinales went to KTM and figured it out, right? Who else is there? Raul Fernandez, right? Fermin Aldeguer is figuring it out. So if you look at all the riders who are struggling at the beginning of 2025 MotoGP season, Pecco Bagnaia is the only rider who is still struggling at round 13. That's a problem for me.
But we have to be careful, though. We have to be careful with that analysis because some of these guys who you're talking about, Bastianini, Aldeguer, Raul Fernandez, it might just be a track specific sort of thing. I think you need a larger sample size to fully determine whether or not.
We got 13 races to realize that's a big enough sample size.
No, what I mean is,
and you're talking about guys who used to struggle last year too.
No, what
Raul
I'm saying
Fernandez
is,
was struggling last year.
What I'm saying is the guys you mentioned, Bastianini, it's only like the last 2 races Bastianini looked like Bastianini of old. So I mean, so it's not.
But that's
so
the
I
thing.
think
At least he showed. Pekka hasn't showed apart from Kota.
I wouldn't say that's
apart
true
from
because
Kota.
I don't think that's
Kota,
true.
Pekka hasn't really showed. You say Mugello wasn't on the podium there. He finished 4th.
Yeah, he finished 4th in Mugello, but I think at the same time, I think you have to analyze that performance. Yes, he finished 4th, but you have to look at how competitive he was that weekend. He finished 4th because he went all out to try and win the race and he ran out of tires, and that's what made him finish. But I think you have to look at how was he competitive that weekend.
Yes, he was, right? Yes. Somewhat. But what I'm saying to you, he's the only everyone. If you listen to all the debriefs, everyone is saying, yeah, we found something, we made some form of improvement. Pecco is the old one. Even bear in mind, Pecco was running the best pace in Austria on the race pace.
Mm-hmm.
Better than Marc. Marc even was saying, yo, Pecco seems to have found something. Pecco's debrief, when I read it in text, he said he got the big break back and he's feeling something now that he's used to in braking, right? So I'm like, okay. So I wasn't expecting anything on Saturday, but I'm like, okay, at least for Sunday, if he's saying that and he's running this type of pace, at least I'm going to at least see something. Even if he loses the race, at least I'm going to see something. So, as I said, that's my problem. I'm still 13 races in, and it seems like Pecco is where he started the season. Or probably worse, because at least when he started the season, he was a guaranteed 3rd. Right? So for me, it's even getting worse. Right? And that's my issue because everyone else, even if they did it because Bastianini is showing consistency, he actually said, I'm probably paraphrasing here, that a lot of the things that was bothering him was the instability in KTM. He didn't know what to do. He wasn't sure of what was going on. Once the new takeover happened and, something clicked for him, right? He performed well at the last race in what was his last time? We're coming up to where we're going now. We're going to Hungary now.
Bruno?
What was the race before?
Bruno.
Yeah, performed well in Bruno, right? Despite he crashed out of one of the races. As I said, Raul Fernandez is showing form. So that's the thing that's bothering me in regards to Pecco, right? If you look at someone like a Maverick Vinales, right? Even though he's gone through many different manufacturers, you're talking about Suzuki, you're talking about Aprilia, you're talking about Yamaha. Now he's at KTM, right? And he found a way to at least perform on the K team, right? So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking like, Peko, like, I get it. The bike is not what you want it to be, but as a top class rider, I'm expecting something whereas like you realize that okay, this is not okay. Perfect example, right? This is an example. As I said, we know it's not Mark talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you remember when Mark was on the Honda was Mark was a demon on the front end of that bike, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rear wheel in the ears. Mark was just animal on the Honda on the front end, right? Now on the Ducati, Mark realized really quick that I won't be able to do that. So now he's taking the time from the rear grip of the Ducati, right? So those are the little things. I'm not expecting Pekka to be Mark, but I expect you as a top flight rider to be able to realize, okay, if this is not working, how do I work to find where it could work for me? Right? And that's just not saying he's not doing it, but I'm like, man, I'm not seeing anything to say, well, 13 rounds in, and it just bothers me. Like
Yeah, I
it
can
just
see, I
bothers me.
can see, I can see where you're coming from with that, and that's all fair criticism and analysis. Because again, he's a three-time world champion. You'd expect him to at least, at some point, figure, okay, this isn't working. Maybe there's not much I can do for the remainder of the year. The championship is pretty much gone. I have no chance of winning that. But let me see if I can secure second in the championship. And so, if let me try and change something. And again, he might be doing that. We don't know. And it's kind of crazy to say this. He might be doing it and he's getting that performance. Imagine if he wasn't doing anything. His performances would be
Bro.
far worse than
And
that.
and to go back on the point at the harping about, it's just like when you look, Bezeki went in a whole brand new motorcycle, right? Was having issues at the start of the season. Round third, well, Bezeki started showing real form in Aston,
Silverstone.
Silverstone,
Yeah.
right?
Or
Aston,
Silverstone.
so these are the things I'm looking like. Everyone who struggled at the start of the season has improved at round 13.
But at the same but also at the same time, you're saying that you also have to give those teams credit for putting in place something that allows these riders to be able to perform to a certain level. Again, what's going on? It doesn't matter
Which
what Ducati does. It's the same issue Pecco is having. It's a front end issue Pecco is having with that bike. And if you listen, he cannot brake. He cannot do his normal lines. He's like, you know, he doesn't have a feel for the front end. And again, the reason why his performance looked so good last weekend is because the rear tires they brought. Apparently, the tires they brought were pre-heat treated tires, and apparently, I was just watching on TNT Sport, and they were saying basically it didn't give enough the same amount of rear grip. So I guess that somewhat helped him. But again, when it got into the
So what
race,
if I was to tell you that it's the same tire that they bought at Austria last year? It's the same tire.
yeah. So then, okay, and again, this is where it's really concerning. Where I said, it can't just be a Pecco issue because the race is where he has dominated at. He's nowhere in those races. Austria, he won the last 3 Austrian Grand Prix.
Yep.
So you'd have expected him coming into here, even with the bike the way it is, he would have an idea, of where he wants the bike to be for him to perform. And it seemed like he found that, but what then happens is once he gets into the race, something changes on the bike.
Boy, he got beat up. Let's take the sprint. Okay, sprint. You realize what happened to him?
Something happened with the front end.
So no, he spun up off when he the line.
Yeah, yeah, we saw this.
What does that remind you of? What race did that remind you of?
That happened to Mark.
We're just killed. No, you know what? Maybe it's a different compound at Phillip Island, but of 3 riders that had that spin up, Mark had the worst one. That thing like lit up, right?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, he still found performance in that tire and won Phillip Island last year. Martin spun up in, you remember Qatar 2023 in the sprint? Was it in the sprint with Martin? Or was it the main race?
I believe so. I
So the
don't
Martins,
remember
that's the
which
first
point.
time we saw it where he spun up and the tire just went dead. And I saw it the second time. I'm like, this is crazy. This is not the first time I've seen this. This happened to Martin in 2023 in Qatar. Once he spun up, that tire was dead. So he was dead in the waters before he
But I
even.
don't think it was the tires though,
Huh?
because I don't think it was just the tires because they showed his onboard where he was literally in a straight line and the front end was just like he
Yeah,
couldn't keep the
but
front end straight.
yeah,
So
but
I don't think it was just a tire issue. There was something else. That's why he retired from the race.
he said it was a tire. Maybe the bike was vibrating and it looks like, but he
Yeah,
said it was a
that's why.
tire.
Yeah, so it was
So it was a rear
vibrating
tire. So he said it was a bad
uncontrollably.
tire. But that's why I was saying that Michelin hasn't said anything to him up until when they were doing their debriefs.
Because did he not complain about Michelin tires a couple of years ago, where he
Martin
was
too.
having where he'd get some really dud tires.
The Michelin tires are trash, which is why we have tires. This is why they're one of the reasons why we have the whole tire pressure thing. It's Michelin. Like
Yeah,
their
well, they're
tires are
getting
just
rid of them
trash.
now because
Yeah,
what
thank God for
Pirelli's
that.
coming in for what 2027, so they're getting rid of
Yeah,
that.
thank God for
Yeah,
that.
but
So the race, he got beat up so bad in the main race. I felt bad.
yeah,
He was just getting
because he.
punch and sucker punch, uppercuts, punch
But
to the ribs. I'm like,
the funny thing is, he was running comfortably in third place for about half of the race, or near 3/4 of the race, and then all of a sudden his performance just dropped
yeah, that's how it
drastically.
started, man. It was
It just
bad.
dropped. His performance just dropped, and you can clearly tell. Again, it was a tire issue as well because he couldn't turn the bike, and every time you look going into turn one, he was constantly locking up. It's like he was missing running wide, missing the apex. He couldn't turn the bike.
Saturday, I think the tire. I don't think Sunday was a tire. I don't think he's that. He's that. He has that little luck, whereas he picks up 4 or 2 bad tires over a weekend.
We saw it happen before. It happened to him.
Not back to back. Not back to back. The way these tires are chosen, you'd have to. That's like you winning the lottery, for you to pick up 2 bad tires.
Something happened because he couldn't turn the bike. That's what happened. He couldn't because he went from second. It was second. He went from second to eighth.
Yeah,
He got passed. He got beat up by Bastianini. Who else?
Pedro Acosta.
Pedro Acosta.
I think. Who else was there? Man.
So it was Mark. It was Mark, Fermin, Bez, Acosta, Enea, Mir, Binda, and then Peko. So that was what he finished eighth. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He finished eighth. So again, so that wasn't. There was some. Again, Pekka is better than what we're seeing. Pekka is a better rider.
There's a flip side to that. I said it on my Twitter feed, and I also don't think the GP25 is P8 bad. I don't think the GP25.
No, it's not.
So if I don't think the motorcycle is that bad, right? Say Mark is an anomaly where he's just like, even if they're still saying the GP24 is a better motorcycle, it's the best motorcycle ever made, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's move Mark as the outlier. I don't think Pekka's performance is a level of. I think it's way higher than where he's at, right? And I said it yesterday. Can you imagine, right? If this is hypothetical speaking, right? If buts and maybes. Can you imagine if the scenario that we thought was going to happen, whereas like Mark stayed somewhere else with a GP or whatever, and it's the same issue they're having in the factory. Now Ducati about to take up 2 L's by their satellite teams back to back. Bro, you know how crazy that would look? So I'm glad that it's happening whilst Mark is in the factory team. Because it would look way worse for Ducati, the factory Lenovo, the red bikes, to lose 2 championships back to back to a set, especially if Mark stayed at Grassini. So not only did he lose to you actually the one that gets all the information, the closest one to the factory, which was Pramac last year, to come and lose to a privateer team that doesn't even have half your budget. So I'm glad that it's happening whilst Mark is in the factory team, because whether we like it or not, whatever we think that's going on with Pecco, that would have killed his stock.
True.
Right?
That's
so
true.
if he's gonna get his ass handed to him, it's better be by his factory teammate, so that it doesn't look as bad. right? So anyway, that's it on Pecco, right? Hopefully find something by the end of the season.
Honestly, I don't really see that much improvement for the remainder of the season. I think right now he's in third in the championship because he's nearly how many points is he behind? Let me just check. I just want to see the standings. So,
Like 190 something. Behind Mark?
no, no, he's not catching Mark. He's lost. So he's 197 behind Mark. He's
54 behind
what's
Alex,
it?
somewhere around there.
No, he's 43. No, hold on.
No,
Hold
the
on.
gap between him and
No,
Alex
it's, no,
jumped.
yeah, he's 55 between him
5.
and Alex, and he's only what's that? 12. What's that? 22. No, 22. 43 of Bez in fourth. So right now, the goal for Pekka is if he's not going to finish P2 behind Mark, he
Finish
has to hold on to
P3,
that
bro.
P.
Yeah, finish P3, bro. If he
He
doesn't
has
finish
to,
P3,
yeah. If he doesn't finish P3, that I I don't see no coming back for him from that.
so let
But
me ask you
next
this.
year it would have to be the recovery of all recoveries. The Ducati the GP26 would have to be an absolute beast for him to try and make up for what happened this year.
So let me ask you this, right? Do you think, based on the guy being a 3-time champion, right? I don't want to wrap on Pecco soon. Do you think if he loses top 3, would it be fair for Ducati to be upset?
Yeah,
Okay.
to some extent, yes. To some extent, yes. But at the same time, I think Ducati also owes him a duty of care to fix his issues. To
Yeah, but
fix
if
because
Ducati is saying that, we're the thing, because if you listen to Pecco, the problem is, right? And I was listening to I can't remember who was doing the analysis the other day. The problem that I think Ducati is having is that it seems like Pecco is not having just one issue. It's not just the braking. 1 minute it's the front, then it's the rear, then it's something else. That's confusing the shit out of them, bro.
well, but I think, but knowing Pekka leans on the front end of his bike a lot. So I think the bigger issue is the front end. I think the rear. I think if they can fix the front end issues, they can deal with the rear end issues that he's having, because he
So,
relies on the front end a lot. He pushes the front end a lot, and
and
again, Pekka was one of the hardest people to outbreak.
and that's my problem. This is one of the things that's getting me though, big bro, is yeah, we know that's your strong point. As I said, we don't expect you to be Marc Marquez or Casey Stoner. But what I'm saying to you, if you're 13 races in and you realize, okay, the front end is not working for me, you got to divert.
Yeah, but it's easy to say that. But if you're a guy that relies on having a strong front
That's
end,
what Mark relied on for his whole Ducati, his whole Honda career.
yeah,
It was the
yeah,
front end.
because that, yeah, he did that. But no, he's riding a bike. Remember, I've always said it. This is the best bike Mark has ever ridden in his entire
Yeah,
racing
but
career.
Mark is getting his speed and everything from the Ducati from the rear. So this guy went the whole other end of the spectrum and is still performing at a high level. Yeah, I know he's a super talent, but I'm saying, like, we've seen Maverick do it. You can't tell me that every single motorcycle that Maverick rode had the same characteristics. They don't.
Okay, true. But again, if all the bikes that Ducatis that Pecca has ridden are bikes that he relies on a strong front end. So to now expect him to just make that switch is a different thing. I get your comparison with Mark, but you then have to remember Mark rode the GP23 last year. So he had time to make that adjustment to say, okay, this is what I will need to do. I don't have to rely. Maybe no. The reason why Mark is using the rear, because not unlike the Honda, he has a better rear end, so he doesn't have to lean on the front of the Ducati so much. It's more neutral for him. It's a more neutral
That's what
bike.
I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. So for 13 rounds in, you because remember last year on the GP23, it took Mark a couple rounds to figure out certain things, and he ended up with his race win. So that's what I'm saying. Like, at this point in the season, I was expecting to see Pekka pivot somewhere else to start getting performance somewhere. So because you realize at the front end, the braking that I'm used to is not working. My teammate is getting performance elsewhere. Well, they say you could look at Mark data, but good luck to that. But I'm just saying, like, I at 13 races in, I wasn't expecting your season to be getting worse.
True. But
we gonna wrap on him. I'm sure he'll give us more to talk about in the coming races, whether that be good, bad, or indifferent, right? So Pedro Acosta, he seemed to be finding some form. He seems to be motoring on ahead as a top K, right? I know you had him as a serial crasher, but he's had a couple good weekends. He's stringing a good season. He's stringing a good couple of rounds together, and he's showing his talent. He's showing his speed, right? He just needs to stay on the motorcycle and just see out, just keep doing what he's doing.
Well, he's currently tied with Gigi on 144 points apiece for 6th and 7th in the championship. But the thing is, look, again, you know me and Pedro. You can have all the speed in the world, but if you keep crashing, it's a waste of time. It's an absolute waste of time having all that speed if you're going to keep crashing. So once he learns to stay on the bike, then I think my opinion of him will change in that regard. But yeah, I mean, his last couple of races, he's looked okay. He was podium. He was on the podium because I wrote
in
it
the
down.
Czech Republic in Brno. He was on the podium in Brno.
Yeah, he wasn't on the podium here. He finished. Where did he finish? Hold on, I wrote it down.
He was on the podium in the sprint.
Yeah, he finished 4th. Yeah, he was on the podium in the sprint. Again, it was a good weekend for him, but top KTM rider again, which he seems to be quite often, and which honestly shouldn't really be that difficult for him to do, given who is in the KTM. But yeah, I don't really know what to say about Pedro, because I don't really think his weekend was all that telling, or he did anything that we haven't seen him done so far this season. It's pretty much kind of like, I think it was just average Acosta weekend.
From where he's coming from with the crashes, you don't think that he's trying to find some form of consistency?
But we saw that last year. He crashed as well last year, and he had moments where he had consistency. But it doesn't mean like he's not going to crash again. So yeah, I'm not really sure what's what.
I think he's finding maturity, right? Because he tend to be a bit, some people like it, but I get it. You're a 2-time world champion, but at the end of the
But that's
day,
what I just said. He just needs to stay. He just needs to learn to stay on the bike, because he has it. He has the speed. He has the aggression. He has the racecraft. He just needs to stay on the bike. And once he learns to do that, I think everything else will be pretty much easier for him. But you can't keep crashing as often as he crashed. You know what I mean? It's kind of like rivaling Joan Mir for crashes. And that's not really
Jeremy had a decent weekend. Jeremy actually had a decent weekend. Jeremy, but you got to remember, we weren't totally being honest in the Jeremy situation, because a lot of those crashes, people actually wiped him out. A lot of those Jeremy crashes, he wasn't crashing on his own. He was just down in the wrong place, and people used to just wipe him out. If you watch the race, I think, who was it that he came by, and he was just looking at him like, if you ever touch me today. It was funny, bro, because when he went to pass, he just looked at him like, I dare you to. Like, you could see that, man, if you do this today. But he had a decent weekend. You know what my moment of the weekend was?
What's that?
That pass that Fermin pulled on Pedro. That was crazy.
Where he went up the inside of him. Was that at the chicane? At the chicane going up to the chicane
it's
after
not the first chicane. It's the one the first chicane, you go up and then you go down the hill.
Yeah. When you come, the left-hander. The left-hander coming around to what should be in Formula One. I believe that's turn 6 and 7.
Was it Fabio that pulled a move on Jack Miller a couple of seasons ago in that same spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, the thing that made me giggle when it happened is that because they were friends, but they do not like each
They
other
don't
now.
like each other, man.
But as I say, I rate Furman higher. Furman is going to be one to be reckoned with in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This man is already finding a way to be faster than Marc Marquez through left-handers, bro. Even his crew chief, Frankie Carchet, who was Marquez's crew chief last year, was like, he's the one that they see Ducati leaning on if Marquez decide to pack it in. Because they could see his data and they could see that he's a real one. And I've always said it, even when he struggled last year, when they changed the tires, it doesn't matter. You could see talent, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as talent, sometimes you know you're gonna find some bumps in the road, but you could see talent. And Fermin is a talent because his route through.
That's why Ducati signed him at such a young age. Remember, people were saying,
"We're tripping."
"Well,
I'm like, what?
Signing because he was 19 when they signed him.
Man,
18, 19.
This man was rooting up trees on a basket screw when the basket screw wasn't all of that, bro.
There you go.
And what I always say, that's what I used to pick my talent. Show me the guy who's on the other. Don't show me the guy who's doing rooting up trees on the calyx and all that. No, show me the guy who's on this other chassis that no one cares about. Like when Mark was on a Suter, right? Suter was decent. But and Furman is the truth. Right? And trust me, people are talking about Pedro. Furman is the truth. And I think Furman, if one of them is going to become world champion, I think it's going to be Furman.
Ahead of
Even
Pedro?
if both of them do, I think Fermin will become world champion before Pedro.
Yeah, because I don't see KTM building a bike that's going to be good enough to compete for a championship.
Even if they both go to say Ducati, I just think that Fermin, whilst he may have wobbled in his on the second year, because obviously he was probably signed. You know that he's young. That probably he's playing. He's just like, I just can't wait to just go to Ducati, right? Those things could play on a young kid's mind. Right, the pressure of knowing that you're going to MotoGP, you know. But when you're a rider who you're in the stable of Marc and Alex Marquez, right, and it looks like Marc would be okay for this guy to take the reins, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're around one of the goats, because you got to remember, you know, Pedro, who's he around? You know, Pecco was around Valentino.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Bezecchi's around Valentino. Just look at it. Just see where I'm going with this. David Alonso is around Marc Marquez and Alex Marquez.
Mm-hmm.
Max Keeles is around Alex and Marc. Fermin is around Alex and Marc. Pedro is standing like an island, right?
Stand by himself.
But if you look at it, the guys who are actually really doing it, I've been around goats. I've learned from goats. Right? So even when he was coming through and even when they asked him about Marc and he would throw some shit, I'm like, bro, that's not, young kid, that's not the way to go. You need to align yourself. Marc is way older than you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Marc is way older than you. Just align yourself with one of the goats. You got to put the ego aside, because at the end of the day, if you're seeing this guy and you're Spanish, he's Spanish, just fall in the stable. Go learn a thing or two. We've seen it work. Valley did it with Pecco on them and Bez on them. And so you realize that rather than be arrogant and cocky, just be humble. Go align yourself with a goat, and you might become a MotoGP champion. You might figure out how to stop crashing.
Sure.
Right? Fermin is, I'm going to say this loud, Fermin is the real deal.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, because you know we said Maverick was the real deal. Or was that turned out?
Maverick thing was just mental, bro.
Nah,
Maverick is a real talent,
but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We all said Maverick was the real deal, but when push comes to shove, Maverick didn't live up to that deal.
Yeah, but what did I just say? It's not like Fermin is out here by himself. He's in the shadow of GOAT. So I'm sure he's learning things. I'm sure Marc is teaching him things. because Marc knows he's probably gonna pack it in soon, right? Because Marc got a stable. You'd say Furman is in his stable. You'd say Alonso is in his stable. Keela is in his stable, right? So there's a difference here. So now these track days, whatever meetings there, Marc is probably teaching them. Have people around them teaching them about the mental side of the game, how to be mentally tough, because he knows, you know. So I think Furman is the real deal, and I think he's But yeah, I'm not gonna go too long on Furman. Great result for him on the podium. He was, as I say, if you could, even though Marc kind of stabilized it at just 8-10, but if you could, because one of his strong point is he's very good on used tires like Marc is doing now, like Bastianini used to do. So it's just to figure out the 5, is to qualify better, right? And I think that will come, right? So he's doing the right things. He's doing the right things to have a long stay in MotoGP, right? Because it takes a lot to eat up time on a Marc Marquez on the dying moments of the race. Usually Marc is gapping.
I looked at that and I'm thinking, what if he was closer to the front earlier on in the race? What would the outcome have been?
That's the thing, right? So
because he was one of the fastest to get up.
Yeah, and even because that's the thing, that's one of his strong points. It's the same thing where right now what Marc uses, Marc could stay just bringing his motorcycle. That's what he said with Bezecchi. He was like, yeah, I tried first. I realized he still had tires left, backed off. The moment I saw him wobble 2 times, I'm like, okay, go for the kill. And he went, right? So Fermin, the kid has got a bright future. The kid has got a very bright future.
There's a reason why Ducati signed him so young, mate. There's something there. There's something there for him.
Yeah, but yeah, we've been in, but we haven't just mentioned the race winner now, bro, because we got to talk about the race winner.
What's to say?
What else can we say?
Nothing. Marc wins again. Next topic, move on. Because it's kind of like copy and paste statements every weekend for Marc. Marc turns up, because remember I said to you, Marc wants to win the race from the first practice session. Marc's goal is from the first practice session, he wants to be fastest and kill everybody from the first practice session, and that's what he's been doing. 6 straight race wins.
Only to win.
And the last time he did that was 2014, when he won 10 in a row. And it's very likely right now, barring him making a mistake, he could run the table for the rest of the season.
That would be rough.
Because you're talking about, we have what, 11 more races? Because it's 24. Is it 24 races? Hold on, let me just check the calendar just to.
It's 11 or 9 more races. I think it's 9 more races.
So 22 races. So we have 9 more races. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9 more races. It's very possibly he could run the table. And if he runs the table, it would surpass his. How much did he win in that 2014 year?
I think his most successful year was actually 2019.
How much did he win?
I think 24 when he went 10 in a row.
2014 he won 10 in a row. But how much has he won?
2019. I can't remember, But 2019 was the epic one where he didn't finish anything lower than second, and he finished the race.
And how many? And he's won. Where the only races he hasn't won is Silverstone, Kota, Le Mans.
And Spain.
Who won in Spain again? Alex.
His brother, Alex.
Yeah. So he won in Thailand, Argentina, Qatar. So that's 3. He won Aragon 4, Italy 5, Aston 6, Germany 7, Czech Republic 8, Austrian 9. So he's won 9 races this year.
9 out of 12, right?
13.
9 out of 13.
Because it's what? He won, because...
so he lost Kota. He crashed out in Kota.
Lost Kota.
He lost Spain. He lost Silverstone. And the French Grand Prix.
And France. Yeah, French Grand Prix. So that's 4 out of the 13. So he has 9 race wins right now. and he's won the last 6 from Aragon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's won from Aragon the last 6 races, and it's likely he could run the calendar for the rest of the year. This upcoming race might be, I'd say it could throw him off, but then I remember they went there and tested on
The Panigale V4s.
on basically standard Ducatis, where Pecco's lap time was 3 seconds off the world superbike time, and he did that on a stock off the shelf Panigale V. So
yeah,
it could be that race could be a stumbling block for Marc, but it's Marc Marquez.
and it's a left and it's an anti-clockwise track, so
I'm not. So
not only
so again,
that.
There's not really. What can you say about Marc that's not already been said? The man's literally, he's just here. He's like a machine. He's just wired one way and one way only. Win. That's it. And he wants to do that from the first practice, and he sets his marker out from the first practice session to the checkered flag on Sunday. That's how he focuses.
Which is crazy. It's like, it's really metronomic, right? And if you look at it, it's like, how would I say? It's like we always say, everyone says this, not only us. To beat Marc, right? You have to be fast for so let's take practice and qualifying. To beat Marc, you have to be fast for 28, however long the race is, 28 laps. And for 40 races throughout the season.
You're not going to do that.
Because even what Casey said is like, yeah, there's always a saying, right? They just say, Auditor could be talent. But as Casey said, yeah, you can until talent decides to work.
Exactly. I used to say the same thing. Talent without hard work is wasted talent. Marc Marquez has talent and he has the work ethic. So how are you going to beat that? You can't.
You realize we just recently saw this man with a girlfriend, right? Of all these years. And all the other riders had girlfriend. This man was dedicated to this thing.
I think the Honda near-death years kind of like changed him a bit. He's thought, I need to.
And this is the crazy thing, right? I was looking at it the other day. You and I had a conversation over Twitter. Even when Marc was in his darkest times at Honda, he was still the lead in Honda. You know how crazy that sounds, bro? For a man to come back off almost losing his, and he's still the top dog in that manufacturer. And now I'm hearing it that per Matt Oxley, they're in the paddock, that he took when they asked him, how much did you get paid at Grassini? He said 0. He rode for Grassini for free. He said he only got money he said he made money, but that was from his main sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
They rode the Grassini in terms of like, the Grassini team didn't pay him a dime. Because he went there just to see if he could still ride, if he could still win, if he could still find the love of the sport. Right? So that's hard to beat when you think about it. When you think about a man gave up 25 million euros, right? Most people are like, what? I'll see out this contract and get that other how many million was left on it. So when you look at that, that's hard to beat, big bro.
Yeah, and did he really need?
Because think about it. How many in our living history, how many sport people we've ever seen put away millions, be like, nah, I'll do this for free just to prove to myself that I can still do this.
Well, Lewis left money on the table when he left McLaren. So
right. But he never drove for free.
No, but that's a different thing though. You're not gonna drive for free in Formula One.
That's what I'm saying.
Period.
So that's what I'm saying. That show you the guy's desire to win. That's what I'm getting at with it. The guy's desire and his ambition is it's just so potent, bro. It's difficult to beat.
And that's why you're not gonna beat. That's why to beat him, it's gonna take special talent to beat him. And again, to beat Marc Marquez has to be one of two things. You have to have a bike that that's so far ahead of everybody. The GP24 compared to the GP22 level, the performance to beat Marc. That's one. Two, Marc have to beat himself. Because if you put him in a situation where he has a bike that's equally on par with anybody else, you're not going to beat him.
Yeah, look at those
You're
days
not,
when
you're not going to beat him because he's just
because
he's
even we
just
hear the
that good.
stories now about the gap between the GP24 and the GP23, and he still managed to pull away 3 race wins, still finished third in the championship. We forgot about that he finished third last year, beat Bastianini, cost Bastianini a lot of money too, right? That's the thing. That's why I say you got to be miles ahead of him, where it's like he's nowhere in the vicinity to become a thorn in your side, right? And right now, it's like, and the question is where does Ducati go with their motorcycle next, right? If they're saying that, well, we could see that the motorcycle is good, right? What do they do? But that's another topic. But yeah, we can't even say much about Marc. I don't even want to kill any more time on Marc because the guy's just doing what we expected him to do, right?
Marc's doing what champions and greats do when they're put in a situation where they have the equipment to do the job. They're going to go out there and they're going to execute and they're going to get the job done. It's no different to when Max Verstappen finally got a dominant Red Bull. Lewis had a dominant Mercedes. Michael Schumacher, Sebastian Vettel, Valentino Rossi, Mick Doohan. So when their talent is that level is that high that once you pair them with a machinery that
Problems
is comparable to their talent, they're gonna be hard to beat. They're gonna be hard to beat. But I think right now, when this season finishes, right, where I think we have 9 races left, right? Where I think Marc can run the table for these 9 races. He's already won what? He's already won 9 of 14. So if he goes ahead and
9
runs
of 13.
9 of 13. So if he runs the table and wins the remaining 9 races, he's going to finish the season with 18 wins. That's never been done in MotoGP. Never been done. So what you're looking at there, you're comparing that season. If you put it to Formula One terms, you're comparing that season to Max's 2023 season, Michael Schumacher's 2002 season. You compare that to Sebastian Loeb's. There was I can't remember which season Sebastian Loeb pretty much spanked everybody in WRC. That's the sort of level you're talking about. So look, you know me already. I ain't no Marc fan.
The thing is, I get it, but over 30, we still can't forget that he's almost 33.
Yeah. So he's showing these young. So again, he's showing you that age is nothing more than a number. Once you have the talent and you have the equipment to do it, you're gonna get the job done because you don't
put in
forget.
the work and you put in the work on your own self and your body.
Because you don't forget how to race and win races and championship. Because that's something you've been doing your entire life. You don't forget these sort of things. You know what I mean? And so, like I said, I ain't no Marc fan. Sorry, because I'm team Ross VR46 for life. I'm team Fabio for life. But I always tip my cap to him because he's one of the aliens, and and you can make an argument either way for him or Rossi as to who are the true MotoGP goats. And if you make and the argument, whoever, it doesn't matter how you make the argument, there's valid arguments for both.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And that's it. You can't. There's nothing you can say about Marc because he has no weakness in his game. None.
That's crazy. And you remember the last part we had a conversation and as you know, I always respect Valley, right? I'm not his biggest fan, but it's exactly what you say. It's the same thing for me. The guy he did this business, right? And we could see, like, he had a weakness in his game. He was not a good qualifier, but he still won races. He still won championship. But when you look at Marc, he can qualify. He wins races. It's just like, where do I beat it? How do I beat this guy? You realize that this guy didn't get beaten until, okay, so Lorenzo beat him in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So he's only lost one championship since 2013 to 2019. That was Lorenzo, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guy, when he's unsung, he's almost impossible to beat unless he beats himself. Like,
that's literally what I just said.
You see, 20 folks, even though that was almost the end of his career, go back and watch. Was it Erith, Spain 2019, the race where Mark crashed and broke his arm.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch that race. That race was about to go down as one of the greatest races ever, up until the crash, right? And to go through all of that, lost almost 4 years, right? And then to come back, given the right equipment, but usually you come back and you be like, because Casey's now saying that he's close to 100%, but he still struggles. He's still got a shoulder problem. But to come back over 30, almost 33, and then you're just showing him that, yo, I just was just around here just trying to get right.
Mm-hmm.
And just spanking people all over the place. Like, hey man, that's goatness. No, but as I said on Mark, we got to wrap, Mark, because there's not a lot more to say, right? All I want him to do is just stay on the motorcycle and just don't get in his own neck. You know, Mark, his desire to win sometimes is a thing that trips him up. We can't knock it because you don't want anyone on the grid half-assing stuff.
But dude, which is why I said to you, this, like, after round 3, the championship was already won from the third round of the season. It's pretty much over. So
you know, yeah. It's man has got 4. He's got 4 weekends in hand on Alex, and I think 5 on Peko. He could win the championship with 4 rounds to go.
Dude, I saw a stat. Jesus Christ, this is embarrassing. Over the last 6 races, Mark has scored. Let me see if I found it. Because let me just.
I see. Mark has scored more points than Pekka has scored for up until this point.
Let me just see. Let me just find it because I bookmarked it somewhere. Let me just find it because somebody hold on. Let me just try and find it because.
Okay, while you're looking for that, so we could just. That's it on Mark. That's it on Mark. Like we don't even need to go any further on Mark. His brother Alex came back off the summer. Obviously, he had this injury that he picked up in Assen. He had a turbo, Bruno. Came back out the gate, podium in the sprint. The long lap penalty for the accident with him and with himself and Joan Mary got a long lap penalty for that. The past race, and it just kind of damaged it. He just, even though he had front running pace the whole weekend, that once he took that long lap penalty, it was it for him. He just got stuck in P.
Yeah, but you'd have thought he would have been able to recover from P10 given the relative pace of that off the bike.
He just didn't, right? Just could not recover the. But even with that being said, I think he still made points upon Peko.
Yeah, because he
made points
did he though? Did he? Because where did he finish?
Remember, Peko didn't score in the sprint, and he finished. Alex finished second in the sprint.
So he scored 9. And then he scored what? 9. He scored 9 points in the sprint.
Yeah, and then he took P10.
P10, and Peko took P8. How much points did he get for P?
Yeah, I think he gained like 6 points over the weekend, or 6 or 7 points, because he went in the weekend, I think 45 points. I think 9 points is what he picked up. So I think he went in the weekend. Pekka was 44 behind him, somewhere around about it, 44, 45.
And he's now
55 or 54. You said.
Hold on, let me just check it. So he's it's 276 to 221. So he's 55 points behind. But I don't understand that, because then you'd have said he gained 7 points on him.
Yeah, he gained some points because remember the points difference between 10th and 8th. I don't remember the points what you get for 10th, but he went in there like 45 points. So he gained on him. However, how much it is, he gained on him, right? And but despite the long lap penalty and him being buried in 10th, what was good is that he came back and he was still unsung in terms of pace, right? So let's just see how he finishes out the year. I remember when I met Simon Patterson in Austin, we had a conversation and he was like, "Oh, he's not going to be there." I'm like, "I bet he's going to be there for the rest of the year." He didn't believe it. I believed it. I'm like, bro, you could tell.
And that's what Pekka needs to fix.
Hey man, if you could, the thing is, if you had a ride on a Honda, right, and Alex Marquez was showing certain signs on Honda, he was showing flashes every now and then. He podium on it, even though it wasn't a lot. You got to look at that rider and be like, yo, if he gets a good motorcycle, he's going to do some damage. That's how I always look at it. If you're on a dog of a bike and you show me any flashes of brilliance, whether you podium every now and then, you top 10 every now and then, that's telling me that if this person gets a decent enough motorcycle, they could do some damage. And that's what Alex is doing. He just needed the right situation. And we're seeing it. So the guy wasn't a bad rider. I don't know why people thought that. Right? You could see from his Honda days, like the guy was always doing decent enough, whereas you think that, okay, if he gets the right situation. So I don't know why people would think that, well, he's not going to last the rest of the whole season. I'm like, okay, we going to see. And now we're around 13 going 14 and he's still there. Right? But yeah, we ain't going to stay long on Alex. And Zarco didn't have a good weekend. But shout out to Zarco, man. He won the Suzuka 8 hours back to back.
Yeah, because I watched that racing. And funny enough, I caught a couple hours of it because I watched the last when they had the safety car and the lead they had. I think they had at one point they had over a minute lead over the Yamaha. Who was on the Yamaha? Jack Miller, and I think Locatelli. And I can't remember who else was on the Yamaha, and they had like over a minute lead, and then there was a safety car, and that lead diminished, but they just kind of like rode away from them in the end. So yeah, and again, it was Honda's home race. They had to win that. There was no way. I think Honda pretty much prioritized that they needed to win that race, so they won that. So yeah, Zarco.
Boy has Honda home. Honda loves him.
Zarco?
What?
Well, I mean,
Honda loves that boy.
He's giving them the first race win since Marquez.
Right? Nah. Is it?
What do you mean?
No, I remember that Alex Rins won Kota a couple years ago on a Honda, on an LCR.
Yeah, but Mark won races after that. I'm sure Mark was the last Honda rider to win a race.
I'd have to double check on that. But yeah, that's not a year nor there. But Zarco, he's found himself a home. Hopefully when he retires, he gets an ambassadorial role from them, because winning Suzuka for them back to back, right? And he's doing the business. He had his weekend. This weekend wasn't stellar, but he's doing his thing, right? I always love Zarco, just based on how they ridiculed him back in the day and he's wanted. I'm just happy for the fact that the year on in 2025, Zarco made a whole MotoGP career even better than some world champions.
True. So Mark last won on the Honda was the Sachsenring in 2021.
2021.
So who you said won before him?
When did Rins win Kota? Rins won Kota a couple seasons ago. Was it? Yeah, check Kota. When did Rins win Kota on the LCR? What year that was?
22. Yeah, 2023.
2023.
So Rins was the last one. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I figured that. So, but yeah, Zarco, man, he didn't have the best weekend, but Zarco is a steady pair of hands. He's doing the business for Honda, and yeah, kudos to him. Maverick, he tried to ride this weekend, but his shoulder was too badly injured, so he's not riding this week. He's not coming back until September.
Yeah, but there's also reports that he said he might not even come back for the rest of the year. But I don't see that happening. I think he'll definitely be back.
The break is worse than they actually thought, right?
Yeah.
So as I said, Bastianini, he had back-to-back good weekends. Let's go over to, because we need to wrap soon. Let's go over to Yamaha.
Bro,
that's rough.
Yo, the last 4 places on the end of the races were occupied by Yamahas. Yo, Bridget, I can't even. I don't even know what to say, bro, because this is just, it's rough, but dude, Bridget, this is just bad in every which way possible. It's just terrible. The last 4 places, let me see. Hold on. The last 4 riders on the grid. At least Fabio scored a point in 15th. Fabio, Rins, Oliveira, Miller. And the only reason why they scored that point is because Gigi crashed out. And Martin crashed out. If it wasn't for them 2 riders crashing out, they wouldn't have scored a single point.
Yeah. Digi bike caught fire. It didn't crash. His bike
caught fire. Yeah, caught fire. Fabio finished 25 seconds behind Marc. 25 seconds on a
just
but no. This because good thing you mentioned the V4, because when I was watching on TNT, apparently the reports are the V4 is slower than the current bike they have. Sylvain Guintoli was saying, yo, it's not just about bringing the V4 engine. You're talking about you're changing everything about the bike. It's a brand new bike you're building. Chassis, swing arm, front suspension, everything is a brand new bike, and it's slower than the current bike they have.
That's not good.
That's not good at all. So what are they working towards? Next year? Because they only have 1 more year left of this. And then they move over to the new what are they going to? They're reducing this 800. So they're reducing the capacity of the cylinders. I think so. Or 900.
Or 9 something. Let me find.
Because they were currently running
in a minute.
CC. Yeah. So what's the end goal for Yamaha right now? Like I said, Fabio already has that championship. And Fabio is still relatively young. He still can get a factory ride somewhere, because again, it's still Fabio Quartararo, so he could pick up a factory ride somewhere else. But where is he gonna go? Does he want to go on a Honda? Because right now, if he's gonna leave Yamaha, 850, round up 900. So if Fabio leaves Yamaha right now, his ambition is to get on a factory Ducati. That's the only bike he should be aiming for. A factory Ducati, not tough. a Honda, not a Aprilia. A factory Ducati. And as you said, that's going to be tough. And damn right it's going to be tough, because with Gigi and Fermin on the books.
Nah, Gigi, I don't think Gigi is a priority for Ducati.
Well, you never know.
I don't even know why Gigi had a factory contract in the first place. Because if you look at Gigi hasn't really done anything in my eyes to say he's going to root up trees or even deserves a factory ride.
Well, probably don't deserve a factory ride, but at the same time, he's going to have a factory ride. In the stable, yeah, but in terms of factory contract, now, I think, yeah. So that seat, I don't think that's a secure space in Ducati. Yeah, well, Fabio needs to do something, because, next year, if there's his patience is going to run out. But when is it going to run out?
Oh, just bring the V4 and just put it through race. Your true testing and where you're at is always going to show up in the race. Just use the rest of the season as for testing the V4.
Well, then here's my thing. Then why not wildcard Cal or Dovey, in a
I
couple
think
races
someone
and
is getting wild.
and run.
I think Augusta Fernandez should be getting wild carded at some point before the year ends.
But if you're gonna do that, then you just run the V.
Just run the motorcycle. Yeah, we know it's slow, but you never know. Like just like we see motorcycles on race weekends who look slow, then it's fast in the race, or it's fast and it's just put the bike on the track. Put it in race conditions. You're already finishing at the back of the field. It's not going to make a difference. What's the difference if you finish 25 seconds behind compared to 30? At
You
least
already
it's really
finished
race
25.
conditions.
You already finished 25
Yeah,
seconds
like
on the quicker bike. So
just bring the motorcycle, because if you're waiting for one next year only to get one season, that's a waste of money.
and this
That's a
is
waste of talent, engineering resources, I should say. Like just put the bike on the track.
and the thing is, and this is why the Silverstone issue is gonna hurt Fabio so much, because that
It
race
probably was his last chance to win on a Yamaha.
exactly.
You know the crash that happened. You know what
Which
happened
one?
in Austria, right?
Which one?
In practice, when he crashed when Jack Miller crashed,
Oh yeah,
Fabio crashed. You know what caused it, right?
they said something about was it his ride-eye device that got
Ride-eye
stuck?
device failed again, and the hydraulic fluid. So they just need to be gone with this ride-eye. As I said, bro, I don't think you don't need to start off the racing line as a dragster. I don't care about that. You don't need to lower the bike on the straight. Like it's like what Casey's saying the other day. Like just let the riders ride the motorcycle. Give them control of the motor. I personally think that as a rider, as a top class rider, get paid so much. I still think you need to control your risk.
Yeah, less aids. Because then they not also introduce.
I think if you go like this in the wrong seat, you should be punished.
Yeah.
Like,
And they introduce some what they call it,
stabilization,
stabilization, electronic stabilization.
stabilizer control or something like that.
Mark pretty much said, "You're like, yo, we're getting too much of these things. Like, what we doing? Why they bringing it in now? Because
Yeah, this is
because they said they've been working. They said they've been
basically
working on it for a while. So why bring it?
because basically it's like an anti-eye side. Basically, that's what it is, right? So they're saying, because the thing is, they could always say it's for safety and implement it. So why you can't say it's for safety and remove ride-eye devices?
Exactly. Because we've seen too many. Because Pekka could have gotten T-boned.
Yeah, I heard someone said it. Why not just run prototype race, make it what it is, and let Superbike do the stuff that you're going to put on road bikes?
That's kind of like the same argument they make for Formula One. Why run all of these technologies? Let them do that in WEC.
You know,
because that would be more. But
yeah, let's let prototype racing be prototype, because you're probably never going to see ride-out device on a road going motorcycle, right?
Don't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them.
That would just be dangerous.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Right.
But it wouldn't be to the same extent. But I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah. But yeah, Yamaha, man, just put the bike on the track. Just put the motorcycle on the track. That's you're already slow. You know, the Honda is coming on good. Right? The KTM looks like the Aprilia look like it's genuinely the second best bike on the grid.
But then
it's between the KTM. I would say Honda is probably the fourth.
Yeah, the Yamaha is absolutely the dog. Because remember,
then again, maybe it depends on who's on the Honda. Maybe if there was another type of rider, a certain talent on this Honda, probably would be further up the grid too.
Yeah.
You know, I think the Honda it's slow. Let's say it's still slow, but it turns better. So, but guess what? Honda just snatched up the dude that made the KTM engine, which is the best engine on the grid in terms of power. So Honda,
they snatched somebody else as well.
And they're running a 16-man team in somewhere in Italy with only one Japanese engineer, is what I'm hearing.
Where?
So they
KTM?
do Honda. So remember they were saying in Formula 1, why not Ferrari have a team like in the UK? Honda has a team in Italy, I think it's a 60-man team with one Japanese engineer, and then they do everything and they just send back to Japan to get the stuff made. Ducati, their situation is different. They're saying that that Ducati got a lot of 3D printers running in the back of their trucks, right?
What they're printing?
Parts for the bike. And with Ducati, they develop something and they could just send it to the track and it gets printed. Man, they're working super efficient. There's crazy 3D printers, from what I'm understanding, running every race weekend for Ducati. So even if they crash a motorcycle and all their wings get damaged and all that stuff, they could just 3D print it.
Well, I mean,
they operating at a high level.
I mean, Ducati started all of this. They started all of this ride height, whole shot device, all of these wings on the bike. Right now, they started all of this.
But I'm sure at some point, probably the end of the season, we're gonna have like a whole thing on Ducati and Gigi and his greatness, bro. Because people fail to understand that Gigi actually, he's a great engineer, because he did some stuff with Aprilia, won them the World Superbike, and I think that's how he got head on it and came over to Ducati. The guy's an Adrian Newey at MotoGP, a motorcycle racing.
True. That's true.
Right?
That's definitely true.
So yeah.
All right, let's wrap up. The last one we're going to touch on is this, because you more familiar with this, the whole MotoGP failure to launch in the US. So that's your side of the pond. So you can talk about that one, and then we can just end it on that.
Okay.
What happened?
Before that, quick one. So rumors. Obviously, it's the best kept secret, the most open secret, I should say. It looks like Diego Marrero is about to go to Honda next year.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Sankia Chantra is out. Yeah, he looks like he's going up to MotoGP.
So he's gonna take the what they call him? What's that team?
The Idemitsu, which is kind of strange, but I guess because Idemitsu, they ain't got no Japanese that's coming through or any Asian that's coming through to take that seat, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but then remember you mentioned that they needed to have one of these riders because they have a large Asian market.
Yeah.
So if you remove him, replace him with Brazilian, how does that work?
Because how does it work is you still, maybe, I'm not sure if it's still going to be an Idemitsu sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to remember that Diego Marrero is Brazilian. That's a big market too.
Yeah, but is it bigger than the Asian market though?
You still, in terms of like, unless for Honda, the thing is Honda is never going to have problems selling motorcycles in Asia, right? Never. So in terms of MotoGP, they still got Aldeguer on the MotoGP grid for the Asian market.
Yeah, but that's on a Yamaha.
Huh? No, he's on Aprilia.
Aprilia, sorry, it's on Aprilia.
No, but I'm not talking about the brand itself. I'm talking about Moto, because the issue is not the brands themselves. Is MotoGP as the business, the brand of MotoGP, is getting more people engaged. They already, the Asian market got Aldeguer, right? Even in the lower categories, they got like Yamanaka and these young guys coming up. Diego Marrero makes a lot of sense considering we're going to Brazil next year. So
am I right in saying Diego Marrero would be the first full-on Brazilian to ride in MotoGP since Alex Barros? Has there been another one?
As in MotoGP, as in
top class. I can't remember any other Brazilian MotoGP rider.
Yeah, after I think he will be.
Alex Barros. You see, now we're showing our age because most people don't even know Alex Barros. When you say Alex Barros, most of these people are like, who the hell is Alex Barros?
Yeah, I think you will be. And then Frankie Morbidelli he's half Brazilian.
Yeah, but he's Italian, isn't he?
But you realize his helmet got a Brazilian flag on it.
Yeah, I know, but I had a problem with that because they kept referring to him as half Brazilian, half Italian all the time. When I'm like, yeah, but he's Italian. They keep referring to his because I think his mother is Brazilian, or
yeah, that's what they do everywhere. It's just like if you're Jamaican, even people in England.
No, but they don't. He's the only person I've ever heard them do that way. I didn't like it because it seems like I didn't like it. But just to go back to my
Maybe
question.
it's marketing too. Maybe it's just to keep the Brazilian. You know everything they're trying to be like, we need to have some of this down here. So maybe it's just marketing. Let Brazilian people know, hey, there's one of your guys on the grid too with us, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's all
Well,
marketing. But I don't think
well,
there's anything.
but to answer my question, Alex Barros from 98 to 2000, 88 to 2007. No, it can't be 88. So that's
I'll be 88.
12. No, I think that's so long is no, because that's
That's how long you probably race motorcycles.
yeah, but he was in MotoGP until 2007.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be Diego Murray is going to be the next.
What was the Honda he rode on again? The black and white Honda with Rossi. I can't remember the spelling.
Was it the West? Was it West?
Was it West? I can't remember.
Was it West
I do know it's a Honda. I can't remember. It's the black and white one.
I think it's West.
With
I think it was West. Yeah. So that's the rumor. Well, he's rumored, not rumor. He's going to MotoGP from what I'm understanding, right? So that's going to be good for the Brazilian market, considering we go there next year. I'm not sure if it's a rush thing.
Where they going? Where they going to race? Interlagos?
No. I can't remember. We're gonna have the name for it. People could just look it up. I can't remember because I didn't plan to even talk about the Brazil race. Okay. But yeah, they're going to Brazil. We haven't heard anything yet about David Alonso. I know he's going to go MotoGP despite the season he's having. He's just got the talent.
I don't know. I think he needs another year in Moto2.
Yeah, that's fine.
Look what he did. Look what he did on
Sunday. Having a better season.
Look what he did on Sunday.
But it's like what we always say. You could slow down. You could stop a fast rider from crashing, but you can't make a slow rider fast. So I'm sure they'll rather him crash.
Yeah,
right.
I think he should do another year in Moto2.
Yeah, because his teammate, he's not going to be rookie of the year. Thing unless he has a stellar 9 races. If he wants to be rookie of the year, he has to have a stellar 9 races.
Who's that going to go to though?
Probably Daniel Aldeguer, his teammate.
Yeah, true.
That's true. That probably would be a disappointment.
Yeah, because he dominated.
Because when you come in and see, you think that that's automatic. David Alonso is going to be, but hey, Fermin is young, right? Mm-hmm. And he's got little quirks, but is he a talent? Yeah, because he's already up to speed on the big bike. So he's shown me enough for me to say, okay, yeah, he knows how to ride a large motorcycle, which is the thing that I was like, please let this kid knows how to ride a motor. Because
which camp is he in? Is he in the Yamaha camp?
No, he's not in the camp just yet. He's in the Marquez camp. I know that part.
So he's not going on a Yamaha then?
Hell no.
He's not going on a Yamaha.
Well, I'm not sure how close this relationship with Mark, but I hope Mark tell him not to go on that dog of a bike.
Yeah, well, probably for 2027 when the new rules come in.
But for your question, all right then. So MotoGP finds a way how to mess up again. Remember MotoGP Unlimited?
What's
how they messed up that what was supposed to be MotoGP's Drive to Survive.
Mm-hmm.
They messed that up, right? Epic flop on the launch. So why did they announce this MotoGP channel for the US that in text was like, well, it's being launched on the 13th of August. Today is why is it today?
19th.
The 19th. So that's what? 6 days on?
6 days, yeah.
Still no MotoGP channel in America. I'm searching Prime, nowhere. It cannot be found. Another guy that lives here, I think he's in Austin, he also tweeted me like, hey, I'm doing the same. I cannot find it. So once again, MotoGP is not helping themselves. They always mess up launches, things that are supposed to, because think about it. They announced that people in America probably saw them like, okay, what's this? Let me go. They're only going to search once. That's the thing that these guys have to understand. People's attention span is so short, you cannot make any mistake with these things. They're only going to search once, maybe twice, and they're on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to launch something as this, you have to pay the money to whatever platform it's going on, whether that be Prime, wherever, to make sure that's front page. So as soon as I put my Prime on, you should spend enough money so I see that. That's one of the things that's scrolling across on my Jumbotron. I shouldn't have to search for that. I shouldn't have to put in my search bar the MotoGP channel. The fact that I have
But
to do that, you already messed up.
here's my thing. So are they going to put it on Prime?
It should be on Prime. It should be on Prime.
So will it be free on Prime?
So yeah, so it's going to be on Prime on Amazon for free, right? But there's a caveat to that. It's going to show Moto E, I think Moto 2 and Moto 3. Those are going to be free. You're still going to have to purchase like a pass to watch like MotoGP, the big boys, right? That's a start. My issue is that it's still not live. Because you got to remember, even if you give those for free, I don't mind if people have to pay. I always pay for my pass anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But at least that is giving people a taste of what. So they might say, you know what, let me go pay to see what's going on up here now. They failed at launching this. It's still not live. Unless they miswrote the text when they just announced it on the 3rd. Well, they announced it before the 13th, so that I can't even make that argument. They're saying it was supposed to be live for the 13th, and it's still not live on the 19th. Right? So,
but that seems like a rush thing, given that they've only just recently taken over. The deal to acquire MotoGP was only just finalized a month ago.
Yeah, but this is I don't think this is a Liberty. I'm not sure if this has anything to do with Liberty, right?
So
this is I think it's
MotoGP. But then if it's a MotoGP doing it themselves, isn't that them undercutting their own subscription service?
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like that part, I don't know. So now I'm going to search the MotoGP channel. So you see, if you look at my phone right here, right? You see how many times I search for it?
Can't see your phone. The camera freeze up.
Oh, my camera is frozen?
Mm-hmm.
Sure what that is. Okay, so I'm still searching. It's not there. Right? So I search MotoGP channel. It's not there. The MotoGP channel, still not there. It's the 19th. Right? Mm-hmm. So these are little things that you have to get right. If you're trying to break into a market that are trying, you have to get these things right. You could have the best product ever. If you fail on launch, you're just dead in the water at that point.
Yeah. But here's my thing. How will Liberty play this? Are they gonna run their own? Because if they take over the sport, does it mean they take over the MotoGP streaming service as well?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same like you got the F1 TV.
F1 TV. Yeah, but the thing is, F1 TV came into
they own everything now. Well, so they own a percentage of everything now.
So they're going to own the streaming service. So then launching it on Prime then doesn't make any sense for them.
No, so this is because you remember they got to find a way to get into the American market. So this is basically they're giving certain things free. The Moto 3, the Moto 2, free to capture the audience.
Yeah.
And then they would say, okay, I would pay. This is so good. I'll pay to watch Marquez and Peko and them. So that's the idea behind it, right? It's a marketing. So we give a little bit for free so people could kind of realize what it is. And then they pay for the full-on stuff, right? Because Badgers Racing is coming next season as well.
What's that?
Baggers. You know the motorcycle that they ride in America with you see them mostly like tourists with the two bags.
Yeah. Like the big Harleys, the
the big Harley bag. Yeah. So the racing is coming next year.
They used to do that before.
But it's actually coming. It's part of the MotoGP calendar now. I think they're gonna do 5 races next year. Because it's a relationship. Because Harley only has 4% market share in Europe. They're trying to get more of that, and then MotoGP is trying to get more of the American market. So it's a good partnership to have.
That's not gonna help sales in Europe. Sorry,
You never know, because you got to remember, bro. Harley, it's a tour, right? They do nice motorcycles, so everything is just how you market stuff, how you present stuff to people, how you put it in front of them, and put it in front of them in a MotoGP weekend. You never know, that could turn 4% market share to 8% market share. That's a win. That's a lot of money. Right?
Well,
So it's all about how you present. Everything you just got to put in front of people in a certain way. And you think that, oh, I'll never ride a Harley. All of a sudden, like, oh, that ain't too bad. Maybe I'll try an Harley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's all about how you put stuff in front of people. So, and it looks like Gunter Steiner is about to take over the Tech 3 team. Not sure if you heard that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because he's the standout guy, and everyone is excited because he's the famous guy from Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
Right. Especially in America, right? So I think he what do you call him? What do you call them takeover people at what Landstra? What do you call that unit?
Consortium.
That consortium is about to take over Tech 3. I heard that it's finalizing soon. All right, so that's that. But yeah. What do you think? What are your thoughts for the rest of the MotoGP season?
But they said that to you, dude. Mark's pretty much going to run the table, and the form. It's just going to be the same old as ever before. It's a case of everybody knows they're fighting for second and third on the grid. No one really is going to turn up to think they're going to have a chance to beat Mark.
Next question: where do you see Pecco finishing?
Third.
Does this season get better or worse?
I think it's just gonna be a continuation of how his season has been so far. He'll have good moments where he's gonna get on the podium, but that's about it. So I think it's gonna, for him to catch Alex, it will require Alex to crash out of a couple races and Pekka needing to win races, score big points when Alex crashes out. Because again, Alex this week, he had a long lap penalty, he was down in 10th, so Pekka had an opportunity to take big points off him. He finished 2 places ahead of Alex, and Alex had a ride-through penalty.
I know you said podium, but that's rough. Right about now with Bezzecchi, seems like he's finding form.
Yeah,
Pedro Acosta seems like he's finding form.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. Again, it could have been track dependent. Bezzecchi, because
Bezzecchi has been coming good. But in Assen, he's been coming good.
Yeah.
Like, trust me, like, where I see it right now, Peko is in trouble with even podiums. That's just how I'm seeing it right now. Now, Pedro is saying that the KTM felt good because they used a different aero. Brad Binder seems like he's finding a sweet spot on it as well. Bastianini seems like he's coming up the grid. Fermin Aldeguer seems like he's about to find some consistency at the second half. Podiums for Peko is looking sticky.
Pekka's looking like Lewis in Formula 1.
Well, yeah. Yeah, we're going to wrap it on that one. We're going to wrap it. As I said, we haven't recorded in a while because we took a summer break. You know, we had, family stuff to do. And, but yeah, nice start to the second half of the season. Now we're just going for the final run, the final furlong, we say, right? We got a test. We got a test coming up. So let's see how that works out. Rumors that Peko wants to go back in his 2024.
Yeah, but he can't ride the 2024 for the rest of the season. So what's the point going back to it? Can't go back to it. Stuck with the 25. So what's the point?
So on that note, thank y'all for watching. We appreciate everyone that listens. Thank you again. This has been the Grand Prix Project Podcast.
Yeah.
Peace out, people.
I have to go out and finish my 15,000 steps for the day.
All right, let's get it. And I've got to go to work.
Cool, bro.
All right, take care.
Thank you for listening to the Grand Prix Project Podcast.